Hello, I'm Dane, and this is Dane Explains. I've heard a lot of different ideas from Bible-only Christians, also known as Sola Scriptura Christians, about where the Bible gets its authority from and why the additional 7 books in the Catholic Bible shouldn't be in the Bible. Some people say Catholics added the books later, others that they don't count because they were written in Greek rather than Aramaic. A while back, a friend of mine said the Bible is self-referential, and that's how we know which books are legitimate. He claimed that the only legitimate Old Testament books were referred back to in the New Testament. Well, are they? Let me explain. When my friend mentioned the idea that the Bible was self-referential, it had been the first time I had heard that particular argument against the 7 additional books in the Catholic Bible, which in Catholic circles are called the Deuterocanonical books, and in Protestant circles are called the Apocrypha, which actually leads to some confusion because there are books which Catholics also consider Apocrypha, but they were never in the Bible. A good example would be the Gospel of Thomas. Anyway, I had already heard many other arguments against the additional books, like I already mentioned in the intro, but they deserve their own videos, especially since I generally try to keep my videos around 5 minutes these days for the algorithm and to make them more accessible for people who don't have the time to watch an in-depth video on a subject. And I've actually already done some videos on the subject in the past. Since I wasn't sure at the time, I told my friend that I had to get back to him on that one, but challenged him on why it would matter anyway, because where does the books in the Bible derive their authority? At any rate, I did look it up, and I actually found he was wrong. There were many references to the Deuterocanonical books in the New Testament. In fact, many verses in the New Testament were practically verbatim prophesied in many of the Deuterocanonical books. I'm going to leave a link for the people who have the time and want to see a more complete list, but I will quote some highlights here. The Apostle Paul references 2 Maccabees in Hebrews 11:35, where he describes the Israelite heroes. In particular, 7 sons who were all tortured to death for refusing to eat pork. This is a pretty big issue for Protestants, because 2 Maccabees is one of the books used by Catholics to support the idea of purgatory and praying for the dead. In Matthew 24:15, Jesus mentions a desolating sacrilege, which is also prophesied by Daniel in 2 places, Daniel 11:31 and Daniel 12:11. However, Daniel never used the phrase desolating sacrilege, just Jesus and 1 Maccabees do. Ironically, the verses in Daniel Jesus is most likely referring to were actually fulfilled in 54 Maccabees, which used the same language that Jesus used and fit Daniel's prophecy perfectly. So Jesus is not only directly connecting 154 Maccabees with Daniel 11:31 and Daniel 12:2, but he's also predicting there will be another fulfillment of Daniel's prophecy in the future. The Dialogue in Wisdom 2, which is another Deuterocanonical book, clearly describes the Pharisees that had Jesus crucified. In fact, in Matthew 27:43, while Jesus was on the cross, one of the hecklers inadvertently uses the phrase from Wisdom 2:18, where they say, if he, meaning Jesus, is the Son of God, then God will deliver him. This actually gets to the true point of why the Deuterocanonical books are in the Catholic Bible, but not in the Protestant ones. When the early Protestant reformers examined the canon, which had been accepted by the Catholic Church since the Council of Chalcedon, or Chalcedon, in the year 441 AD, they did not like how many of the passages in the Deuterocanonical books agreed with the Catholic Church's teachings. Conveniently, the canon the Jews accepted at the time did not include the Deuterocanonical books. The reason is because the Jews excluded the Deuterocanonical books from their canon after the rise of Christianity. The books were still relatively new in Jesus' day, and the prophecies in them fit Jesus and what happened to him too well for the palate of the Jews who rejected him. So, the simple solution for those Jews was just exclude them. So, does the New Testament refer to the extra books in the Catholic Bible? Yes, and often, because those books are the ones that led up to it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please press the like button. subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell to get notified when I post new videos. Also, please support me on Patreon to get extra content and special perks. Link in the description. The more people support me, the more time I can dedicate to making videos like this one. So, until next time, have a great week.